Hey there guys, welcome back to ARTFX Studios, and I'm here today to show you something new. I've created a new product for Native Instruments Massive. It's now available for all VIP members of my website and you can just download it for free. However, if you're not a VIP member, you can still buy the product in the web store. So the link to the product is in the description below this video, and I told you guys I was gonna do a demo video of some of the presets in this pack. So I created a whole bunch of clips, as you can see, and I'm gonna take you through them. All these presets are set up in a very special way. They're set up with macro controls, as you can see, and each preset comes with either 4 or less, or a lot of times more macro knobs predefined, and you can just use that to control how the final sound is gonna sound. So the first one I've got right here is sort of like a 808 kind of replica of a kick drum, and it sounds like this. So it's a pretty heavy 808, and the cool about it is I can take this drive knob and get less of those distortion in it, which is pretty cool, and I can also control the transient of the sound. So for instance, I might think I want to have a punchier kick. Now the kick is a lot punchier, and I can do the same. For instance, I can take that tail up. Now the tail is a little bit more of the a longer decay than the transient itself. This is just the tail. I can also use that tone knob. Now, that tone knob adds a whole bunch of different stuff. But as you can hear, it sounds pretty damn cool. So the next one is this one. Let me open it up for you. This one is more like a acid kind of bass. It's an acid bass. You can use this in electro house. The little part that I created sounds like that. Now, you might think it doesn't really sound that acid-like, right? Well, that's because I did a whole bunch of stuff to the preset itself, but you can get acid sounds out of this preset if you want. So as you can hear, you can get a whole bunch of different sounds out of just one preset, and that's what I was trying to accomplish with this pack. I really want to make presets that sort of like can create a whole bunch of different sounds than instead of just one particular sound. I mean, I could just make an acid preset, but with this acid preset you can get a whole bunch of acid-like sounds. Now, one way to get a really fat acid bass with this preset is when you take the phase all the way down, the drive all the way down, the chorus all the way down, the shaper all the way down, the clipper all the way down, and then turn the feedback all the way up. I think this was about right. Let's listen. the next one is this one, and as you can see, it's constructed out of 3 group tracks. I didn't really have to group these in individual groups, but I wanted to be able to just solo these if I want. The first part of it, well, I'll just play you this entire thing. Now listen really closely to how this sounds. So it sounds pretty big, and this one could be useful for dubstep, possibly. The first part of it is this particular patch. It's called All-Pass Mod, and what this does is a really interesting patch. Now listen. You can actually see what I'm automating by looking at the macro knobs. You can see them moving when I play the sound. Now, it sounds pretty good right now, but I also have the distort knob. Now I can turn this up. Or sound becomes more distorted that way. We also have the widen knob. It's set to the widest setting at the moment. If I set this all the way to the bottom, it's really centered, really mono sounding. But we could automate that. I mean, we can automate that so it opens up if we want to. I also have the detune knob. If I turn this up a lot more, the sound becomes more detuned. This is no detuning. Little bit more, and all the way. But when we turn that widen knob up, that detuning is not really that audible, I guess, but it's still in the sound, so there's still detuning in it, but the detuning is also changing phase cancellation between the left and right speaker, and it really sort of like affects how the sound is gonna come out. I mean, if I turn this all the way down, it sounds much more static than when I turn it all the way up. So it's just a little thing to think about. Then the next part of that sound is this one. And you can hear that vibrato in it. If I turn the vibrato down, it's just a static tone, sort of like a screech. But when I turn it up, we get that. Now, the cool thing about this one is that you can get a whole bunch of different sounds out of this one itself. I mean, that's the basic sound you start with, but so you can hear how you can get a whole bunch of different stuff from just this patch. And I can turn up the detuning. Makes it a little bit wider. We also have our widen knob. I like it like that. We've got our wavetable position. Which slightly changes the character of the sound. And then I have a phase knob. Which creates that kind of sound. I really like this particular patch. It's really great and you can get a whole bunch of stuff out of it. Now, this patch is actually the same thing, but I've used it in a different way. But it's actually just the same patch. It's just playing on a higher octave than this one. This one is playing 1 octave lower. Now, those three together create that particular phrase that I've got right here. And I think that sounds pretty dope. The next one, let's open this one up, is a Reese bass. It's a bandpass Reese. You can see the notes down here. And if I play this, let's just listen to it. Now, there's just a little bit of a reverb on these patches. Other than that, I haven't processed anything. As you can see, I've just automated some stuff. Now, for this one, let's bring up all the automations. I automated the filter, as you can see, which is the bottom one. It's a bandpass filter. And I'm also automating the width, the stereo width of this particular patch. You can see I automated that during the last parts of the phrase on the parts where it bends up in pitch, and that really creates that wide kind of sound that you hear a lot in neurofunk and neurohop kind of tracks. So this patch is really useful for that. And it already has a lot of bass from itself, so that's pretty good. Let's go on to the next one. This one is the Facestep or WUP preset. Again, pretty similar kind of thing, just some shorter notes this time. And if I play this, let's listen to it. This again is a sound that you would hear in neurofunk a lot of times. We have all these knobs that we can use. I can change the tone. I can play around with that phase knob. I can add a little bit of FM. Which makes it sound pretty interesting. We have our drive, which is basically just a distortion. With the curve knob, we change the actual curve of the modulation, and we change it from a stabby kind of thing to a more wubby kind of thing. So that's pretty interesting. You can use that if you want. And then we also have the plus 36 mod. This one changes the overall pitch and the overall character of the sound. Now, for this one, you can really change the character of the sound. Ooh, that one sounds nice. We can make it mono and more wide if we want. So that's a pretty good preset as well. The next one, let's see, what do we have? Ancient Talking, right. This one is created using modern talking as the oscillators, and judging by the name, you might have already guessed that. And it actually doesn't sound like modern talking at all. Listen. Well, maybe it does a little bit, but it's just this one should be mostly used as a fill bass and not as your main bass, because it's quite obvious that it's modern talking, but you can still get quite some interesting stuff from it. I like it because it has a nice stabby kind of character, and that's pretty good. The next one is a little bit more interesting, I think. Let's see. Automate Me. Oh yeah, this one is really insane. This one is a great preset with which you can create a whole bunch of different sounds. Now, if I play this, and I'm gonna bring this up for you so you can actually see. From itself, it sounds like a nice neurofunk kind of preset. And I haven't automated anything on this particular one, but the whole magic of this particular preset comes from the macro knobs and when you automate those. Now, I have a notch knob. You can sort of hear what I'm getting, and the same goes for the reject. And the bandwidth also. So you can get a whole bunch of different sounds from just this one preset. And we have a filter mix. And that filter mix basically just controls whether we are hearing the double notch or the band reject. And a blend between the two will actually sort of like give a mix between these two filters. And you can use that to totally change the sound. Now we also have a shape knob. Which basically just does that. I really like that preset, and I actually use that in one of my tunes. And there are a whole bunch of presets in this pack that are actually coming from my own tunes as well. So that's pretty cool. You know, just giving away those patches. The next one, I really like this one. It's called Broken Rees, and I haven't called it Broken Rees for nothing. If you use this one as a normal conventional Rees, it sounds, well, pretty broken, and that's why I called it like that. But if you use this in a way like I used it right here, it's actually pretty interesting. Listen. So it has a really weird kind of sound, and we can make it wider. It's much wider now. We can drop it down in pitch, and I can add some FM if I want. And we can add some more noise. Just to dirtying it up. Damn. Next one. Let's see. What do we have? This one is called Foreman Power. Right, this one is a pretty high-pitched kind of sound. Well, just listen to it. It's really dirty, and I can bring that drive down. Gets rid of some of the dirt. If I bring it up, becomes really heavy. We can widen it up if we want. And we can change the curve. Now, you can always go in the preset itself and change the actual curve, so you can totally change it the way you need it. But I've predefined 2 already. Why not? And we have a phase knob. Makes it quite dirty, but it might work. And the Foreman knob actually changes the overall pitch. So that's pretty interesting and pretty helpful. The next one is called, let's see, what do we have? From Groove to Earth. Oh yeah, this one is actually coming from my latest EP. It's one of the bass sounds I used in my latest Glitch Hop EP that was released on Digital Womp. And I made a whole bunch of automations with this one. And it sounds like this. So you can see, if you look at the 4 macro knobs, what I'm automating and where. You can see them moving right now. So automating those knobs creates a whole bunch of different sounds, and I'm automating all these different things, and that actually creates that sound on that last particular part. Definitely useful, and you can create growls with this preset if you want. The next one is again a couple of presets. It's 2 presets. The first one is called Funky Notch, and the second one is called, let me see, Bring the Chords. Okay, I'm gonna play you the entire part, the entire clip. That sounds like this. So this one is a really funky bass. And we can change the whole sound again. I can make it less wide. Or more wide. I can change the phase knob. Or the position of the wavetables. Which totally changes the sound. We've got a fill and mix. Which creates a pretty interesting thing as well. And that is layered with the Bring Me the Chords or Bring the Chords preset. And this one is mostly just a preset great for chords. Listen. And I can make it wider. I can change the phase. I can add some FM. And we can play with the filter to make it really small, or do that. I can also play with the attack and the rest of the envelope, which I added to the macro knobs. We can bring the attack down to create that, and we can bring the attack level down to make it really small, and then automate that. And then we're going to automate the filter. So as you can hear, that's a pretty helpful preset. It's a pretty good preset. You can get a great sounding chords out of that one. The next one is again a couple of presets together. I have 4 presets in this particular one. Let's listen to how this one sounds. So again, this one has a bass. I haven't changed too much to this one, I haven't automated it, but I can totally change the sound out from that particular preset. Can make it wider, detune it, add some release if we want. And that is layered with the chord preset, bring me the chords, or bring the chords, the same one again as the last one. And I also have the Milky Way Catnip main bass preset in here, and I automated the tone knob. And the tone knob is actually the notch knob. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff in here. I can use these to totally change the sound and get a whole bunch of different stuff from it other than this particular sound. And let's see, we also have this final preset, which is a neuro hop, neuro funk kind of bass sound, and you can get again a whole bunch of different stuff from just this preset. The next clip that I created is again a couple of presets. This one is 3 presets, and let's listen to how it sounds. So I like the sound of this one. We have this, and we can change the phase. I can make it sound like that. Sounds completely different from what we had. That. Pretty interesting preset. And then we have this one, which is basically just the bass sound from Skrillex's Scary Bolly Dub. I created that in my last video, and it's also included in this pack. Then I have a knife party laser kind of sound. So you can change the envelope, and we also have a phase knob. To turn it into that. Pretty helpful and really interesting that you can use just one preset, basically, to get a whole bunch of different stuff. The next one is again just one preset, and I'm gonna see how this one sounds. This one is a kill the noise kind of bass, and I created this in one of my earlier videos, and I included the updated version of this patch in the pack. It sounds really like kill the noise bass. Again, it has a whole bunch of macro knobs ready to use, and you can change the sound as much as you want. Then I have this particular one. This is a little bit of a longer clip, and this one is a chord progression. Now, this is constructed out of 3 chords. I have big strings, creative tremolo synth, and the third one is good for epic chords. Now, these together, and I've added an auto filter on here as well, create this. So you can hear these sound really amazingly great, and they have a really wide kind of feeling, especially when you stack them up, as I did right here. And the more I'm opening up that filter, the more of that interesting kind of sound we're getting. So I quite like that as well. And if I go on to the next one, which is this one, I can sort of like see what this is. I think these are some lead presets that I created. The first one is called Digitalic, and it sounds like this. So that sounds pretty cool. Pretty interesting lead. Then the next one is also a lead playing the same melody. And it's just a different sounding lead with a little bit more, it could be a backboard nerds kind of thing. Then we have this one, which I think sounds even more like a backboard nerds kind of lead. Then the next one is again a lead preset. It's sort of like an 8-bit kind of lead. And it's cool because you can change the pulse width of it, so I can make it really narrow. And I can add vibrato, I can have the phase. I can widen it or detune it. Great sounding preset. The next one is a riser preset. Now these risers are really interesting, and I'm automating a whole bunch of stuff on these risers as well. You can see what I'm doing right here. Now these risers are really great for creating effects and creating build-ups, and they sound really epic and really big. So that's the riser ground zero. And I also have this riser in here. This one. On which I'm also automating a whole bunch of stuff. This one is called King Rumbler. And I think you know why. Then the next one is, let's see, this one, on which I'm automating a whole bunch of stuff again. And it's called Make This a Chord Riser. So I created a chord, as you can see, and I'm automating all these things to create a nice chord riser. I really like that one. It has a nice long delay on the end. And then we have this one, which is again using quite some automation. And this one is Queen Riser. Which is maybe just a little bit more like a normal riser. Then we have this one, which isn't really that difficult. This one is an ELO riser. I like this one. Pretty distorted, but it has a nice sound to it. If you add a low pass filter to this one, it's gonna be insane. And then the final one is a combination of two risers. I've got this one, which is a triplet riser, and I've got a noise riser. Together, they create this. And that's it. These are basically a couple of presets from the pack. In the final pack, that you get when you purchase it or when you download it as a VIP member. You're gonna get 80 presets, so there's a lot more in it than just these that I showed you. All of these presets are available in the pack called Massive Bass Murderer Volume 1, which is available on the ARTFX Studios website. There's going to be a link in the description box below this video and in the screen during this video, so you can go there and purchase the pack if you want. Or if you are a VIP member, you can actually download it for free when you're logged in. And there's a lot of great things about the VIP memberships. You get a discount on all the products in the web store, you get updates to all the products that are currently available, and you get a whole bunch of other stuff as well. There's presets, downloads, sample packs, all kinds of stuff. You get access to a feedback forum in which you can request an in-depth feedback session with me on one of your tracks, and yeah, there's just a whole bunch of stuff. Just check the website out, check the VIP memberships out, and I hope you like this particular preset pack. See you back soon. Peace.